Yeah, so you gotta start with Holminster, then you gotta go through like all the. Well, you don't really have to go through all of them. You basically just have to level them, and it's a lot easier to go through each of the levels as you go up until Mount Gulg. I don't think you need to do any of the others. You basically just have to get them to level 80. Maybe 81? You might have to get them to 81. You might have to do Mount Gulg a couple of times. Once you reach Mount Gulg, don't do any of these for levels for them. Actually, no, never mind. Do one of these. Because they do get more experience. Do they? No, they get less experience. That's 2 mil, right? Yeah, that's 2 mil. And that's 5. Yeah, that's 5 mil. So yeah, once they reach level 80, don't do any of the level 80 dungeons to level them, because it's gonna take forever. Just spam Mount Gulg until they're 81. And then you can go to the Tower of Zot and then do the same again with the Aetioscope. Or the Aetioscope. I think it's the Aetioscope. Just to get that extra 1 level. Anyways, let's do Holminster. So ideally you would go... You'd want Thancred. Don't actually have access to Estinian in the Holminster Switch. See who I would recommend. Graha goes Black Mage, so having double Black Mage isn't the greatest, so yeah. I think this is probably the best combo. Alizé, Thancred, and Y'shtola. As much as I don't really like having Alizé and Y'shtola, Alizé likes to use Limit Breaks right away. Y'shtola likes to wait, so they're a nice little combo, I guess. I'd be happy to get them past Holminster in the next one. So Holminster is definitely the worst one, for sure. Oh, that's right, there's Don... Okay, the nice thing with Don Meg is that the very last boss, you know the walkway that you gotta go through? The Trust ignores the hole. They find alternative routes of going over the hole, especially if you got Thancred. Thancred cheats. So if you can't get access to the other side, I'm pretty sure that the Trust can destroy the barrier for you. Yeah, they cheat. Same with Urianger. Urianger likes to cheat there as well. He literally teleports himself over the other side, and I'm so jealous that he can do that as an astrologian. I wish I could. But yeah, they cheat with Don Meg. Absolutely. Can't even remember Holminster Switch, so... Let's see. Let's see how bad it is. See how bad it is and how I remember it. Okay, Sage. I gotta target Thancred and apply Ardia. And then now I gotta take the lead. Always make sure you've got your Courageous prepped. Once you get to the first enemy, toss that onto Thancred. I crit it, so it's gonna make it easy. And then just go and start wailing on the bear. You don't have to do big pulls. I'm gonna do small pulls for you, so no worries. Mostly the bosses that are a nuisance in Holminster. Just because of the mechanics. And especially with Trust as well, you have to trust your own instincts a lot. Because the Trust tends to move at the very last second for things. So to resolve mechanics, you have to trust yourself. If you're wrong, that's a-okay. But you will have, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna keep going small pulls. Just to show you kind of the pacing that you're expected. Like, you're not really, you don't really need to heal much. Thancred tends to keep himself healed quite a bit, especially if you're doing small pulls. Just kind of keep an eye on his health. Oh, I don't have the AoE thinger here. That's fine until we get second boss. The second boss is the one that has all of the... Oh, it's got that one mechanic that it's a counter 1, 2, 3, and 4 on each of the party members. Is that the bit that's kind of not great? If you get hurt, just heal yourself with one of your heals. You can also just throw one of the AoE regens as well. I like to use Physis too. Because you just hit Physis 2 and then you're golden for the entire thing for this. Maybe it's the last boss. The last boss is the big guy that's in the middle and he's got like fists that he swings. He's got a giant tail. And there's a mechanic with there's a flare mechanic, and then he does this crazy rotation where he swipes with his tail and he swipes with his hands at the same time. The first boss is like an angel kind of looking thing. I'll just try and do the bare minimum for healing just so you can see, like, the bare minimum that you can get away with. Because you don't need to actively keep his health up at 100%. If you're looking at his health on the side, it's dropping like crazy. It's dropping to half at some point. Like, it's dropped to half at multiple points, where he's decided, you know what, I gotta hit a button. If you get hit a little when it comes to these, just trust in Thancred to take the aggro off of you. Yeah, I'm allowing his health to drop. I hit a Physis 2, and then he should be fine. Small pulls, no issue. As long as you got Cardia on and you're actively attacking things, you are healing him as well. That's how Cardia works. You apply Cardia to somebody and you deal damage to an enemy, you're also healing whoever's got Cardia. Last 2 times you tried it, the healer died, so you could do nothing. Yeah, that's why I recommend to go through this as a healer. It's so much easier if you're in control of the healing, because then you can also res people too. You can res people that have died in your party. I would, like, honestly, I do recommend to have Alizé in your party, because if she's not the one that dies, she can resurrect whoever did. Normally, it's the other DPS. Or, hopefully, it's the other DPS that dies. Because if the tank dies, yeah, things can go south. But I'm not even healing Thancred through this right now. I'm just dealing damage. I'm hitting Phlegma when I can, and then Discourager. Really all I'm doing. That's kind of your rotation, like, at this level as a healer. Just 2 abilities. My MP is dropping, so I do need to hit Lucid. When you're healing, absolutely make sure that you got Lucid Dreaming accessible, because you will need it. Especially in trusts. Because things die a lot slower. So your MP will suffer. And the nice thing about Sage as well is that any of your Ixochol, Brauchol, and Ericol give you MP back. I forgot to throw a shield on him. And just let Thancred do his thing. This is an AoE, so pop out a shield. The AoE kind of shows up very, very quickly at the start, so you can also just do a Eucrasian prognosis as well, to keep everybody shielded. Orbs is basically stand on the other side. Stand directly opposite of where the balls are, and avoid standing in that thing. Just avoiding AoEs. Alizé is a dum-dum. That was her own fault for getting hit. So whenever you see anybody just dropping health, just throw a heal on them. Another AoE, Path of Light. Hit a AoE heal. Pop Lucid around about here, because I'm getting low on MP. Or Phlegma out. Phlegma's really good for movement. Brazen Bull. So this is where it gets a little finicky. I kind of just keep an eyeball on whoever moves. I'm just gonna go over here. It allows you... Why is Alizé getting hit so much? Jeez. Alizé is just... He's gonna get hit again. He did not get hit again. Okay. Yeah, maybe keep an eye on Alizé if you got her in your party. She's good to have, but she just gets hit by everything. Another AoE. And I'm also going to use Physis too, just to get Y'shtola and Alizé up a bit more. You do not need people at full health for the majority of the time. Whoops. Okay, this is where you gotta move over. Come on. Alizé, you're gonna get- oh, you're gonna get hit still. You're... fine. See, this is why you're the healer, because you can make up for the mistakes of the trust. I'll do a big AoE here. I'm literally using I'm using 3... No, I'm using 2 damage skills. And I'm using 1, 2, 3 heals, basically. You can probably get away with only using 3 damage and 3 heals. Make sure you throw a shield on Thancred again. You can throw a dot on each and every one of the enemies if you want. I do, personally, but it's finicky with controller. So, you don't have to. And then it's just spam damage. So later. Pop a Physis too if you feel the need. Just to keep Thancred healed. Make sure that you're nice and healed. As long as you stay alive, everybody else will stay alive too, ideally. Unless they're really stupid. Sometimes they're stupid. Just gonna go to the next one. Crack open the cup. Throw a shield onto Thancred. I'm gonna throw these on each of these, but you don't need to. You can just use Dyscrasia and Phlegma when you have it available. That's all you really need. And another Physis too, because it just became available. I noticed that Thancred was panicking there a little. Thancred will also hit Super Bolide. I don't know if his Super Bolide works with how it is now, where it only drops you to 50% health. I'm not sure about that. Make sure that you're... Like, if you feel the need that you need some extra MP, but you don't want to use Lucid, you can just pop a heal on yourself. And you get a little bit of, MP back. But ideally, you'd want to have Lucid Dreaming on cooldown. Thancred's been slowed. You can Azuna him from that slow, but you don't have to. I'm being lazy. I'm just playing lazily right now. If you just want to get through this to level the trust, don't worry about, like, getting fancy with anything. Just as long as he stays alive. I'm keeping tabs on his health. The nice thing as well, especially with how the ads work in this one, as a healer, you can find a nice spot kind of behind everything, and then you don't even need to look at the enemies. You can just focus your eyes on your party list. So you can just keep absolute concentration on Thancred's health. You don't need to worry. You were Super Bowl for your hotbar because it terrified you. It has changed now. They did change it. So it's not as scary. It only drops you to half health. Yeah, but as long as you're in a spot that's safe from any AoEs with just these regular mobs, you can just focus your eyesight on your party list. And then if you see Thancred going down, just hit down on your D-pad twice. I'll throw a heal out. This is the easy part, and I feel like the second boss is also an easy part. The hard part is the last boss, because the Trust can really screw itself due to its inability to resolve multiple mechanics at once. If you want, you can shield everybody here as well. You don't have to just only shield Thancred. Steal damage. I like to try and stay a nice distance away from all the other people in the Trust, because they're called Trust, but I don't trust them at all. I don't trust them to stand in the right spot. This is an AoE, so we can throw out this. Some damage reduction and a bit of health regen. Okay, this mechanic here, all you gotta do is just make sure... Why did you move there? It's fine. As long as everybody's, like, in a square, is basically it. All you gotta do is just stand in a square. Make a square shape. And then hit a Physis out here, too. And that's another... So I'm gonna throw out this just to heal everybody. Okay, then everybody stands here, so just hit this. Damage reduction. And then move out the way as soon as possible. And again with this. So let's go. Alright, let's stand there. This is a really weird order, but that's fine. Standing opposite of Thancred. Everybody's still alive, you're still fine. We'll hit out an AoE kill. Nobody has to be full health. If you're worried, you can absolutely try and heal people to full. Just don't, make sure you use Eucrasian prognosis, not actual prognosis like I am here. It's not worth it. The heal is not good. Use all of your AoE heals that you have. It's not a good idea to spam Eucrasian prognosis either, because it uses up a lot of your MP, and it's not actually healing, it's shielding. But shielding is just as good as healing, if not better. And then, because they like to go into the middle for this mechanic. Because they will all actively move into the middle, regardless if you want to or not. Especially if you've got the stack marker. There's this again. You can always just throw out... here, make sure you're not near the guy too close, because you can get hit twice by those things, and it's not great. Because you can get hit by, like, once it's zooming towards you, and then it's zooming away to somebody else, it can hit you twice. And it hits hard, too. There's a Physis too. Keep everybody healed from this. Another one, so I'm going to hit Ixicol, or Caracol even. I forget the name. It's the one that looks like a giant bubble. And then he's dead. And everybody's still alive. Somewhat. As long as it's dead and you're alive, it's a win. Your Thancred. And just do a bunch of AoEs. I got hit very hard there because I ran into the middle of him like a nincompoop, but we're fine. We're still alive. As long as you're alive, that's all that matters. Doesn't matter how much health you have. As long as it's higher than 0. Oh, move out of there. You can always throw another shield on Thancred as well if you feel like it. Feel like he needs it. Just don't spam your shields because it's not really going to do much. Because it, like I said, shielding does not heal them. It protects them from damage. And it takes the damage first before it takes the damage from their health. So shield them first, and then if you need to, heal them with a Drukhul or Terracol. What I really like about Sage is that the majority of Sage's heals are off globals. And it allows you to weave a lot in between your damage if you're a crazy person. If you're not a crazy person, it is completely fine. Just take your time. And just use the heals when you feel like you need them. But don't worry about keeping their health not full. Because Thancred right now is just jumping between like 50 and 80% right now. And I am not bothered at all. He knows what he's doing. I hope. Like I said, don't trust trusts. If you have access to them, use some Toxicons. You don't need to. They're there for movement, if anything. And another shield onto Thancred. Everything's going to aggro me because I hit a shield on him. I might actually die, so I should heal myself. We're good. Thancred is a good tank, though. He is below 50% right now. But he's fine. Throw a heal on him, I suppose. You can also just, like, when you're in, like, non-boss fights, so when you've just got all of these mobs, you can just constantly target Thancred. So you got his health at the very top, so it's larger to see, and you can just spam Disgracia. You don't have to hit any of the other ones if you don't want to. Things will die, and you're keeping an eye on the guy that needs to stay alive. I'm gonna pop a Lucid here because I didn't realize my MP was low. Phlegma. I'm gonna hit a Physis 2 here, so Thancred stays somewhat alive. Only needs him to be somewhat alive. Make sure you get out of the AoEs as soon as possible. You also do have to have a little bit of trust when it comes to using the trust as well. You gotta trust in the AI to know what to do correctly. I will not recommend you to rely on that because it can be very terrible at times. But if there's one mechanic going off, they should, in theory, do the right thing. But if there's more than one mechanic going off at the same time, they struggle. They try and resolve one of them and ignore the other. Or they resolve one of them and then they try and resolve the other, but the way that they resolve the other one is causing them to get hit by the previous one. That also happens too. Because that's what was happening with Alizé. Alizé was resolving the first mechanic, and then she tried to resolve the second mechanic by walking into the first mechanic. Okay, so this is the last boss. This last boss does kind of suck. This does throw a lot of people off. I can't remember what it is mostly that is the issue. Trying to think here. Because there's the tank flare, which Thancred can resolve himself. And then you gotta get all the way to the very edge because it slams to the tank and then it slams back into the middle. So you want to keep away from both. So ideally, because Thancred is always going to be where the tail is right now, he's always going to try and be there. Like, as close to there as possible. So ideally, you'd want to be around about here. Here ideally, but like around about this area, this little semicircle. Not like the full semicircle, but probably just behind this line here is probably the safe area for you. Especially as a healer. For that flare and AoE hit. Because the further you are from a flare, the less damage that you take from it. So if you're all the way over here, you're going to take very little damage from it. And if you're at the very edge, you're not going to get hit by much for the thing in the middle. There is the mechanic where somebody gets chained. Whoever gets chained has to be broken out by the other people. So if you end up getting chained, the trust should run to your aid and get you out pretty quickly. If somebody in the trust is chained, you have to also help break whoever it is out from that chain. I think it's a ground AoE that rotates that catches you out, especially if you have slight lag. Yes! That sucks! That part really sucks. You can sort of cheese it a little as a healer. I'll kind of show you the position that you want to be in whilst you're resolving that mechanic. You're back, what did you miss? You missed the first 2 bosses, I think? But we're at the very last boss. I'm just kind of going over some mechanics to Ashia. But yeah, the ground cone AoE that rotates is a nasty one because it hits from the front and behind, so you want to be at the side of it always, and you want to keep on running with the side of it. You can't continuously run around because it will catch you out. And especially if everybody in the trust is on one side and then you decide to go to the other side, you're gonna have to trust in your instincts to move. But you kind of want to trust in your instincts anyways because the trust are terrible at moving at a time that's easy for you to mimic. But yeah, let's just get this going. I'm gonna throw a shield on Thancred. I'm gonna throw a shield on everybody. And then I'm going to hit it with my dot. And just allow Thancred to do whatever he needs to do. Ideally he should... There we go. He took a bit. But he eventually moved. This is the AoE, I think. Yeah, it's just the regular AoE. After the AoE, throw a damage reduction down, the Caracol. So Thancred doesn't get hit as hard. Okay, here we go, Pendulum. Okay, so basically, between the other 2 trusts, people in the trust, is a good spot to be. Somebody's gonna get chained, Alizé's gonna get chained, so you're gonna have to help break her out. Otherwise, she's not going to survive this. As a healer, you can deal a lot of damage, by the way. Like, you deal a decent amount of damage as a healer. Even though you're a healer, it's like, oh, healers heal. Yes, but they also deal a good amount of damage. Okay, this one, whatever fist he swings is going to be the side that he hits. So just go straight to the other side. Normally it's one and then the other, so once he's done the first one, run straight to the other side. You have to kind of keep an eyeball on the boss itself. I always tend to have my eyes fixated on the boss. And then I glance at the party list, and then just throw damage reduction here. Keep everybody protected. Oh, for this here, just stand near Y'shtola. I think Thancred stands at the front. Yes. Do not stand in front of Thancred for this, because he will take the brunt of the damage. Whoever is closest to the boss will take the brunt of the damage for that attack. So if you're a healer, go stand behind whoever's got the stack, basically. Another pendulum. I think this is where he starts to rotate. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here. Everybody's actually going over here. Okay, easy. So I like to stand around about just where, at the very start, you see the AoE that was on the ground. I like to kind of make note of where it is in comparison to where his fist is, and then just kind of make sure that I stand as close as I possibly can to that area as I move around. You don't have to deal damage whilst you're resolving this mechanic. If you, although I will say, if you spam Disgracia whilst you're going around, that is completely fine. Just make sure that you're continuously moving with the boss. And there's this again, stand behind everybody, get a Physis too, then you're good. Left not, so go to his other side. And then move all the way over right away. Because then he'll do the other side. And hit a Lucid Dream because my MP is low. Chain down on your Stola, so we're gonna help her break through that. It's in a really spicy spot, but if you just hit right on your D-pad, it should just be able to target her automatically. Make sure you're out of that AoE. And then just spam doses too. Whenever you have free time, just spam doses too. Scavenger's Daughter is an AoE, so I put out Caracol. You can heal everybody through it as well if you want, but I like to just rely on the regen. Oh, actually, regen doesn't have a regen at this level. That's fine. Just heal them. And there you go. Easy peasy. Just as long as you stay on his side, usually when he's doing the mechanic with the whole conal and then swiping and spinning and everything, if you're at the very front, the first red AoE is around about here-ish, so I will stand around about here. And then I'll just kind of follow where his wrist is, kind of thing, all the way around. But I won't move too quick, because what happens with the mechanics at the very front of him, it shows up here, then it shows up here, and then it shows up here. Like it's a traveling one. So you've got to kind of just be very careful and just stay on his side. If you're by his tail, on this side, not recommended. Because he's going to be rotating clockwise. So if he's rotating clockwise and you're on this side, do not stand by his tail, because you will get hit. Stand by his front. If he's rotating clockwise and you're on this side, stand by his tail. And basically stand by the very corner of him. It's around about here, I think, is where it swipes. It might be a little bit further here. But as long as you're around about here constantly, and when he moves around, and you just follow it, you should be fine. But if he rotates clockwise, do not stand on this side. No, if he rotates clockwise, and if you're on this side, stand by his tail. If you're on this side, stand by his hand. If he rotates anti-clockwise, stand by his tail on this side, and stand by his hands on this. Because then it will be easier for you to not get hit by the mechanics. Because then all you gotta do is just take a couple of steps forward, continue to hit him, wait for him to do the hit, do a couple of steps forward, and then so on and so forth, and then just keep on doing it a little bit at a time. Melee is so easy, because, okay, so this fight, this dungeon, I had to do maybe 4 times before I could do it, like, a full clear without dying myself or anybody else dying. I had to do it a lot of times and actively keep track of things that were going on to figure out where I could stand and what would be the best way for me to do things. Like, over time, it's a lot easier for me to learn dungeons now. I maybe need to see a mechanic once or twice to figure it out. Sometimes 3 or 4 times if the mechanic's complicated or for whatever reason my eyes aren't seeing what I should be seeing. But it is completely fine taking your time learning how to do mechanics and how to do dungeons. Because this mechanic here is very specific for this fight. Because there's some that are very similar where they rotate, they've got conals, they do slams and stuff like that, but this happens in a very specific way. And the fact that it's the only dungeon that has this mechanic that works in this way, people struggle with it. And it makes sense because they've never had to deal with it before. Which is completely fine. So just don't panic. Allow yourself to fail. Allow yourself to learn, and you'll be fine. But yeah. So, rotating mechanic, if it's clockwise, and you're standing by here, stand by his tail. If you're on this side, stand by his hand. Anti-clockwise, stand by his tail. This side, stand by his hand. Basically, you want to kind of like move with him. So you want to kind of be at the very front with him as he rotates, so you rotate with him, kind of thing. It can be something that takes a while to learn, because it, like I said, it's a mechanic that's specific for this boss. And people learn at different paces, and it's completely okay to take a lot longer to get through content than other people, crazy people, pointing at myself. Because my eyes are looking at everything when I'm in a dungeon, and especially in a new dungeon as well. I am looking at every corner of the screen. I am looking at the boss, I am looking at the name of the attack, I'm looking at like all the effects that are happening in the area, I'm looking at the ground, I'm looking at the party list and everybody's health. If there's any text that shows up, I have to read that, and you know, I try and just kind of absorb as much as I possibly can in a short length of time. And it's a lot. So just allow yourself to take your time, pace yourself, and just take each mechanic as they come. And if you're struggling with something, like, and if you can't figure out why you're struggling, just let me know and I'll try and explain it through and stuff like that. Because there are some mechanics that are just, they surprise you, and sometimes they do things that isn't as clear as you think that they are. So yeah, you're looking forward to trying a sage. I really enjoy healing. Healing is a lot of fun for me, so I tend to make it look easy. And a lot of the times it is, but once you get into disaster zone areas, you can panic, but don't worry about it.